Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice, everything Nintendo. This is episode 132, being recorded on the 21st of March, 2018. My name is Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk all things Nintendo, we have Harrison Milfeld.
What's up, everybody?
And we have a Colin Crompton.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, the full crew is back together. And we have a full featured show for you today. We have a bit of what we've been playing. We do have the Nintendo news and the recap of the recent Nindies event. And we're going to finish things up with a super topic. So, all is good in the world. It's a full featured show.
Full show.
We've got new games to talk about and what we've been playing. We've got some big news to talk about. And we have a pretty cool super topic. You don't want to miss this.
Cool in the sense it's expensive, but expensive in our hearts.
Indeed. So, before we begin, let's do a quick bit of housekeeping. I don't think I've done this in a little while. If you're not aware, of course, you can catch this show in audio format if you're not doing so already on iTunes and other podcasting services, or you can catch it live over on youtube.com/Nintendo Voice. And if you do like the good work we do, feel free to check us out on patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. And you can chuck us in some cash each month to help support the show. It's as simple as that. And you get some bonus goodies. However, let's jump straight into some what we've been playing. And Colin.
Oh.
What the devil have you been up to?
Throw me in the deep end.
Ooh, he starts off.
Yeah, so I've actually brought a new Switch game to the table. My first new Switch purchase, and well, since I really got the system, my full new Switch purchase, I actually brought this game brand new. Previous games were pre-owned, so it's my brand new game. I went out and brought Dragon Quest Builders. Now, my reasoning behind getting it was purely because of I like the idea of Minecraft, but I don't like the lack of a story with Minecraft.
Okay. So quick question then. Have you played Minecraft?
No.
Never?
Never.
Not even for a moment?
No.
Briefly, I played Minecraft. It just, I get the phenomenon. It's not my jam.
Colin, you are a rare breed.
Well,
not even to have touched it. To
experience I've been in a room with somebody playing it.
Okay.
So I have experienced it with my eyes, but I've not played it.
Second hand, as it were.
Very much second hand. I like the idea of it, but I don't like the. It's too open. I like to have a goal in a game. Okay. I know in Minecraft you can have I'm going to build a house. It's like, yeah, but you get nothing for doing it. It's just, build a house. That's it. The game doesn't.
You like strict rules and guidance.
I like to have a purpose.
Yes.
Minecraft just has very little purpose for me. It's a fun little sandbox game, but outside that, it's got nothing for me. Whereas Dragon Quest, everything you do has a purpose. It's all basically, it's Minecraft, basically. It is. It's Dragon Quest, Minecraft, but it's Minecraft with a story and side quests and goals and rewards and things of that nature. So the whole core of the game is about building a town and what you can do with this town. That you can construct it however you want, as long as you build this town up. The town has like a little level meter, so the more you add to the town, the more it levels up. The more it levels up, the more stuff you're given, the more rewards, and the story progresses. So it's a nice little hook on the end of building stuff, which is the core of the game. It's all recipes.
And does that hook pull you, as it were? Like that's what it's intending to do. But is it working?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the more you build the town, the more access you're given to like rarer weapons, armor, and which allows you to explore the world. And the world is vast. It's huge. But you also want to stay near the town as you can, because you can die pretty easily in this game, I found. That's probably the biggest weakness.
Ooh, combat.
The combat is bloody awful. The issue I have with it is it's just you have a single attack button, and it's just like you don't have there's no lock on, there's no nothing. You just swing your sword, and that's the combat. It's just hit things till they die. There's no strategy. There's no. And it feels like luck sometimes, whether you die or they do. So,
do you think there's room for that to expand later on? Like it starts simple, or do you reckon that's going to be it? You're just hitting things.
I mean, I don't know because I've not got too far into it, but I have learnt a new move.
Ooh.
I've learnt a spin slash, which I nicked straight from Zelda. But yeah, I don't see there being. I mean, a lock on's basic stuff. I don't feel like if there's a lock on, I would have learned it by now, or been introduced to it. But there's nothing in the tutorial. There's nothing. It's just very stripped down, very basic.
But you're having fun though. It sounds like
a good game. It's a great game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Yes, absolutely. It's very addictive. It's very because it has like a day and night cycle. And
sure.
Basically, you want to make sure that you're in town by night. So if you're out at night time, monsters will just swarm you and you'll die basically.
That's the Minecraft thing, then, yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. But yeah, it has very much just like one more day. You just want to do one more day and see what you can build in the next day, kind of feel to it. But yeah, it's very addictive. It's very good.
A question I do have is I know you're fairly versed, at least, in Dragon Quest.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't, would the game still be interesting?
Oh, absolutely. There's no lore. There's no real history that they go through. The game, the game's very tutorial heavy, but it's very aware that it's tutorial heavy because
it's very meta in a sense.
Your main character falls asleep during tutorials.
Okay.
And the character's giving you the tutorial basically nudges you and says, "Hey, pay attention." Yeah, it's very accessible, as I think Minecraft is as well. So yeah, this carries over. It's very good.
Which is interesting, really, because obviously Minecraft isn't tutorial heavy.
No,
it just chucks you in and just somehow expects you to figure things out.
Yeah. This is very much it's all recipe driven. So if someone wants you to build something, they always give you the recipe for it first. Like, you need these things to build this. So off you go. Whether it's mining or just digging a hole or whatever. Okay. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun little thing. It runs silky smooth on Switch, which is great. Portable, handheld and docks mode. So
cool. So no noticeable difference really in either, apart from one maybe a bit sharper.
No, not even that. It pretty much the same on both. Yeah,
that is. I guess it somewhat comes with the art style, really, doesn't it?
It does. I mean,
deliberately blocky and.
I mean, this game was originally like a Vita, things like that. So it's not. This is a fairly old game. I believe the second one is coming out later this year.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, on Switch and other platforms.
That'd be more interesting to see how that holds up.
I'm not seeing much on the second, so yeah, I'd be interested to see if they do keep that exact same style, which I guess they probably would, or if they do improve things.
Yeah, I hope so.
For lack of a better word.
The graphical style is very nice, very appealing. It's very simple, but it's very colourful and bright, and as Dragon Quest is. So, but apart from Dragon Quest, I've played a little bit more Mario. Mario. I'm up to like 354 moons now, I believe. It's around that ballpark.
Cool. That's the same ballpark I'm in, I believe.
Yeah, really? I think I'm around that same sense, but I think both of you are actually ahead of me. But no. Have you at least gotten some moons that have not been like, oh, they're just underneath a crate? Here they are. Yeah,
those moons are the most disappointing moons. It's like, really?
No, they are. I think that just kind of counts for okay, there's 999 of them. So I think it helps to have them in simple spots. But again, I'm glad that there are some spots where they're like, oh, here's a platforming challenge where you have to get these moons. I'm like, okay, good. Those are the ones I like.
It kind of feels like we run out of secret areas, put these moons, just stick it in the ground there and make it glow. No one will notice. But yeah, I finished what some people will call a difficult part of the game. I have beaten the dark side of the moon.
That's the boss rush mode, isn't it?
That was the most disappointing thing. I was expecting, because I've heard them go, the dark side of the moon is really challenging. It's really challenging. It's a boss rush thing. You basically fight all the Broodals. And that's it. But okay. It's basically you fight a series of 4 bosses, and then you do a 5th boss, which is their mech. form. I don't think of what they
Wait,
actually-
so you're fighting the Brutals
yes.
in their form, and then which, by the way, I will say that final wooden mech that they have was probably one of the better ones at the boss fights because it had one of my favorite capture abilities, which was I can't think of the name of the bird, but the one where it's just I love that capture ability.
That's cool. That's actually one of my favorites as well. Yeah, and I just had the Power Rangers theme in my head when I was fighting the boss. But yeah, no, and that's basically it. And you beat it, and they give you 3 moons for defeating 5 bosses, which I feel is a little unfair. I feel like you get a moon for each boss, but they sort of con you out of 2. But yeah, Mario is still good. It's still good. I'm having fun with it.
Did you bring up Mario just so you could remind everybody that your opinion of it is good?
I don't see how that's a bad thing.
I didn't say it was.
It's a good game. What do you? It's a solid 7 out of 10.
That's a take. That is.
Which is good.
That is quite the hot take. Okay.
By strict definitions, that is a good game.
There you are. See?
Yeah.
No, like that's the thing when I get with people when they get upset when I like, for instance, when I'm reviewing games and like games I put like a 6 or 6.5 out of 10. It's like these are not terrible games. It's just they're games that have a lot of good flaws of them, but they always abide by the A to F scale. Like that's what they're kind of getting to. They feel like, oh, anything below a 60 is failing.
Yeah.
That's what they kind of get at. And I don't know. It's we've all dealt with it, whatever, with games like that. I mean, remember when everybody freaked out when Mario Kart Double Dash got a 7.9 from IGN, and time has been kinder to that game.
Love it. It's a great game. But yeah, no, I 7.9. I call that fair. Fair indeed. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's basically it.
Even though I think it's quite better than the 7, but I will give you that. I'm not gonna.
I think Colin thinks that's quite a generous score.
I think it's like rather than money, to be honest. But yeah.
Fair enough. Cool. I'll jump into a little bit of what I've been playing, which I did tease last week. I bought this game with some of my gold points. Well, I say some, all of the gold points I had.
Can I say something about the gold points though that I feel like I did not address when you were gone? I may have been a little bit hard on the amount that you get from those, and it made me sound like I was kind of a jerk about it. Yeah, no. I think my anger was more the whole minded to know how the rewards weren't like, hey, the amount that you account that doesn't really reward you well, like, because I will say though, the gold points that you get when I know it's like, okay, you're basically for every 100 coins, it's essentially $1 that you're getting off and stuff like that. I will say though, more that I thought about it after that, when it was just me and Colin talking about this, and that's great for indie games. Really, when you kind of get that. I mean, everybody was kind of focusing on, I can't buy like the next Zelda game when it's full price, whatever, this quickly. I'm like, you can still get money off of it, but still, you got to think of these indie titles too. Those help a lot.
How often does a big company give you a full game for free of your choice? Is the important part at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's my take. That was sorry. I just had to say that. So
that's cool. I mean, to be fair, it's not necessarily an uncommon opinion going around currently. The amount of points you get back. I think I benefit more generously because I'm digital only, with the exception of the Zelda cartridge, which hasn't really moved except for the novelty out. And so
you only moved it out to taste test it, didn't you?
I've not taste tested.
Oh, do you know what? I've not done that either.
Did you promise people that you would on the show? No.
But that'd be interesting.
It can still happen. Over a year after the novelty's worn off.
Exactly.
Here we are, Nintendo Voice.
That's one of our Patreon rewards, whatever. Like always taste testing Switch cartridges. That's your reward.
I think even that's been done. I could be wrong, but I think the Nintendo group might have like similar going on. I could be wrong.
I think they've
got a free shout out. It's a good show. Why not?
Exactly.
Check it out.
It's good. It's good. They're great people, and I not only I think tasted Switch cartridges. I'm sure they probably destroyed Virtual Boys in their spare time.
Because why not?
No, I'm not on board with that. That's a cruel act, destroying a Virtual Boy.
No one's going to miss it. So,
well, nobody actually missed it to begin with.
I was going to say, yeah.
If I had a Virtual Boy, I'd treat it with care and respect.
Probably stick in the corner or something.
Yeah, on a big pedestal for it to be shown off.
It's a Virtual Boy.
But anyway, Owlboy.
Owlboy. From Virtual Boys to Owlboys. That is the common theme. So Owlboy, if you've not heard, is yet another one of those 2D indie retro-inspired kind of Metroidvania titles. There's quite a few to choose from now. However, this one in particular had quite a long development cycle, almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's Last Guardian levels of long.
Last Guardian, that's Final Fantasy 15 levels of...
However, in this case, it was active development.
Oh.
Although admittedly by a much smaller team. So in terms of man hours, it's probably a lot less. However, the reason why I wanted to bring up that point is because you can really tell in terms of the art in this game. So it's all, kind of what we expect, that 2D indie art style. But especially playing on the Switch's screen, I'm pretty sure it's 1-to-1 in terms of there's no scaling involved. So each pixel is a pixel of the display. And it's so sharp. So it must be these massive sprites they've been animating. And the animation is gorgeous. Everything from just the actual the trees and bushes, everything is moving around. It's being blown by the wind. And you've got these little tiny animation details in Owlboy himself. And when you talk to other characters, it's quite funny. It's quite like some of those old LucasArts games. And they animate them talking. And it's just little details like that work really well. And the characters do have a lot of character to them. And so the actual, the script is very well done. It's surprisingly quite funny, which is, I think I've said a few times on the show, it's a very hard thing to get right in a video game, to get genuine humor out there. So it hits it on that level. But the game itself, so the core gimmick to it is that you can fly because you are Owlboy. And you can, at any time, you can, when you're in midair, so if you're jumping or falling, you can basically use the stick or the other stick to just fly in any direction. And then gravity's not a thing at that point. And there's no time limit of using that, as far as I'm aware. You can fly as much as you want, drop down.
So it's the Kirby effect.
It's kind of a bit like the Kirby effect with the jetpack effect, although more so than that, I guess. But I think it works quite well, Owlboy, because it does give you this. Actually, there are some weird connections here. I'm thinking about it. Anyway, you're in the world, like a world with floating islands and such, and it does because it gives you the tools because you can fly around. It does encourage you to explore things, but it doesn't necessarily push you in any particular direction. So that is cool. The exploration, the actual progression of the game, of the story itself, that actually works quite well. And so yeah, not played a huge amount. Probably played between an hour and 2 hours so far. Been playing little bursts, but yeah, it's very fun so far. But yeah, you can also tell there's a lot of just pure time, but also just a lot of love just poured into this game. I find out, or I kind of knew I had a long development, but it was like 9 or so years. It's like, oh yeah, I can. Like, just animating that tree, that took a long time.
That's 3 years.
And that's a unique one to that one, and that one, and that one. It's like, oh, this is such a labor of love going on here. But yeah, they really hit out the park. It gets this atmosphere brilliantly done. And yeah, it's a very bizarre mood to it, because it does have its kind of, it's very bright and light and fluffy and such, and on the face of it, but right from the get-go, it dives deeper into some of these kind of darker aspects, and like Owlboy doesn't have a great upbringing, and you kind of have to live through a little bit of that. But yeah, so it has this nice little balance, and it's definitely a game worth checking out. If what I've said resonates with you, you will probably enjoy this quite a lot. So I from the little I've played of it, I do recommend checking it out and finding more about it at the very least. Cool. Any questions on Owlboy before we move on? I've just blurted out a lot there.
I mean, so I'm guessing it was almost like an open world platform game.
Kind of.
Right.
So it gives you a lot of freedom, but there is a like strict story path to it.
Okay.
Where it will take you through different routes.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, I guess the other thing I should mention, not spend too much time, but Owlboy himself doesn't really have much offensive power. Like, he can kind of scrap around a bit.
He has wings, doesn't he?
Exactly, but like, he's a very feeble guy. He's a little boy. But so to do attacks in your traditional way, you have to team up with partners.
Right.
And I've only met the first partner as such, who's this guy who has a gun. And the way the partner system works is you basically pick them up. So you pick them up with your little claw feet, and then as you fly around, which you've got full movement to do so, it kind of, at least for this first character, turns into like a twin stick shooter.
Oh, I was going to
so Owlboy himself, while flying, I think he can possibly do like a roll or something. It doesn't do much damage, but with this partner character attached, you can just shoot things at any angle whilst also flying at any angle. And I imagine he'll come up with some more, or at least different skill types for the different characters you pick up, opposed to just more different types of guns. I imagine they're going to get creative there, but we shall see. Cool. And I'll leave it there for Owlboy for now. So, Harrison.
Yes.
What have you been up to?
Well, I did, going off from last week, I did finish Azure Striker Gunvolt 2. Well, half of it, to be exact. Like I told you last week, you were able to play as either Gunvolt or Copen, basically. Right. And I finished with the Gunvolt campaign, and it kind of leads off, like, you have to basically complete both segments of Copen and like Gunvolt to actually get the complete ending, because once you end to it, it kind of leaves it at a cliffhanger, which means, hey, you have to go complete the rest of the other half of the game to see the full ending. And it's like I said before, Copen's very fun to play as in this whole heavily inspired Mega Man X type of game. It just does take time to get used to, because when you're playing as Gunvolt, though, you have the tagging system where you have a pistol where you shoot enemies and that tags, and then you use your barrier to actually electrocute them. Now, in the case of Copen, though, he has a very massive different abilities opposed to him, where it's when you want to tag somebody, you have to crash into them. Right. And I don't know, his moveset's very different as far as when it comes to, especially when you have with like with Gunvolt. But I had a lot of fun with it. It took a lot of time for me to get used with Copen, though, because as fun as he is, he just I don't know. I just wasn't feeling as comfortable yet. But I may take a tackle of it probably later on soon. But no. But I had to ask Lewis, did you actually attempt to finish Azure Striker Gunvolt?
No, I've not. I failed on that one. I'll do it for next time. Yes, I did say I would. I'm not sure I promised I'll do it for the next show, but that was the intent. I will do it for next time.
Gotcha. My final game, though, I did recently review for Pure Nintendo is Bleed 2, and this is a sequel to a game I did talk about on the show and reviewed about a month or two back, and I left saying I enjoyed its combat, but its content and its price really drove me away, because it was a game that you could finish easily in 2 hours, and it was priced around like $15. So, but again, I know that just depends. There's other options and modes for you to kind of get into. I just felt like it didn't justify its means. But this one, though, I really, really liked, just because I gave it like an 8 out of 10 on Pure Nintendo. The last one I gave it 6.5, because I just felt like you had to wait for a price drop to actually kind of justify its means. And this one, though, its production's a lot better. Sound and visuals just feel a little bit more fluid and up to date. And not only that, but shooting is a little bit more precise. That is, I felt comfortable aiming basically as a twin stick shooter, whatever, different enemies. And the thing that I really liked a lot for the first one was its boss battles. There's a ton in this one, at least about like 20 or so in the 7-8 stages that you have to compete. And yes, this is a game you'll finish in just under 2 hours. So, but it incentivizes you to actually kind of go back and play in different, difficulty modes, because in each beginning stage, you're given the option, like, do you want this to be on easy, normal, hard, or, extremely difficult. So between each stage, you're able to choose your difficulty stage. And while some of these bosses do get a little repetitive at times, like if you face them over and over, I don't know, I felt very fun doing whatever to it, because not only that, like the thing I mentioned to you before, your main character has the ability to stop time, like, and have like a bit of a bullet time-esque like ability to zap through projectiles. Now, instead of one time to jump through, like jumping once, you can do it 3 times, and this is helpful during, especially when you're, doing like a time stoppage. Not only that, you're also equipped with a blade katana, which aside from shooting, if you just flick the right stick, you're able to use your katana and like flip back like purple projectiles. Nice. And to me, it was a nice little addition to something like that. Aside from just shooting, I know there's other weapons you can use and get, but once you kind of get to that one weapon you want to use, it just comes a little bit more comfortable. But and thankfully though, even if you die, and there's a few times I did, especially in normal mode, the checkpoint system is very forgiving. So if you have like a boss battle that's in different phases, you'll start at the beginning of that certain phase. Like say if you got to the second phase, you'll start at the second phase. Okay,
I was going to ask a quick question. Like, so the price point of this game justifies its length?
Well, that's the thing. Like I found out it's $20 on the eShop right now, and these
lordy.
Yeah, but there's other modes for this to do. Where it's like you go through the entire game, but with 1 life.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's others that you just can customize your loadout. But to me, I just had a bit of a little charm with it, especially because it's developed by 2 people. So to me, I think what I liked more about this one from the first, though, is like it took things I liked from the first one, despite its short length and price, but it upped it, and it gave the production a little bit better. And the production's a little bit evident, especially its sound design, because the first one, it's very 8-bitty. This one, it definitely lends a lot to the whole the high octane action that you're going to get to it. It's very high tempo, very heavy, very like hard metal type of music to it, whatever that kind of serves well for each area. And but yeah, I do recommend it. I mean, even if you beat it in 2 hours, there's still enough you're like, I want to go back and play that again in a harder difficulty. But yeah, Bleed 2. I thoroughly enjoyed it and a lot more than the first one. And you know what? If there's a third one, I'm probably going to pick it up.
That's a good sign. That's job well done there for a sequel. They're making that one. Yeah, I'll pick up too. Brilliant. No, that's cool. That sounds awesome. Price point still sounds a little high for a 2-hour game.
It does. And I maybe that's just because of the fact that like when you have like such a small development team that you have to realize like we need to justify the costs for this. So, definitely. But then again, I don't know. But that's just me. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, sounds good. And it's always good when you finish a game and you're like, it would be good to replay that. like that's your first thought. We get to jump back in. Sounds good. So let's jump now into some Nintendo news. And we got a few items here. Obviously, also the Nindies announcement. We first have the Sonic Mania expansion has been announced. And so Sonic Mania is getting a boxed release. With some additional content, and that additional content will also be available for the game as is now. Cool. And so we're getting 2 new characters. I'm not sure what else we actually get. But the 2 characters, we have Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel.
These are from Knuckles Chaotix, correct?
Yeah, these are I believe so. Deep cuts.
Deep cuts indeed.
Yeah. These aren't the 2 characters I would have imagined being like if they like teased, we're adding 2 new characters into Sonic Mania. I wouldn't have even named these guys. I mean, I have heard of them before.
I've not.
Them, but just from obscure means, I wouldn't have even. Yeah. I'm not sure how they're going to play. I'm not sure if. So, have these 2 have had playable roles before?
Those 2, yeah, and Knuckles Chaotix. I mean, you have a different playable character.
Okay, so you do control.
Yeah, because the game is based on a whole like connected with 2 other characters with like Ring, and you go through basically the same stages like with Sonic, whatever, but with these characters, and you have to just drag along this other character, and you have to solve platforming puzzles with them.
That's cool. So hopefully that gives a bit of guidance to what these characters might be like in Mania. And I feel it could just be me. I feel they've kind of danced around the subject of whether getting this content for the current game is going to be free or not.
I have a kind of doubt.
I don't think it's very clear. Which suggests maybe it's not free. But I've heard sources which say it is free, but I've not seen anything explicitly to back it up.
I still yet to pick up Sonic Mania, so I might just wait for the box copy. Honestly,
Yes, I mean it's a
I mean,
I guess kind of as you would expect, it is a it's not a full retail price game to begin with.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I don't know. It might depends how they handle it. Really,
it's the price point.
It might be the price as currently is. Sorry to interrupt. Is just cheaper than when that box release does come out.
Yeah, I mean these two extra characters have been announced haven't sold me any extra on it. It's just I've heard that many good things about Sonic Mania itself. So yeah, no, definitely interested in picking up. But yeah, a weird 2 characters to pick.
It is true.
Out of all the characters to choose from, it's like, but then again, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are like generally the most fun Sonic characters to play as. I don't say every other character in Sonic is kind of lacks something. They're very, I don't know, I find them very generic. You know?
Well, I mean, knowing for characters like that, I mean, that's when you get to like areas like when it's Big the Cat. Yeah, you're getting that, but still,
yeah.
that would be a character to get excited about, though, wouldn't it? Seeing Big the Cat in a 2D Sonic game, going around loops. No,
that'd be terrible.
Be hilarious. But no, in addition to these 2 characters, there is a little bit more. We do have a new stage. Oh wait, stages. Plural. Stages and modes. So it's not just these 2 characters.
Okay.
Right. Bit of extra meat in the bone.
Yeah, it's alright, but
alright. Well, I mean, you could at that point you forget the characters. Oh, these characters aren't for me, but getting some extra stages. That's that's the bread and butter. As it were.
Oh well.
Alright. Sonic Mania then. So another podcast got dragged on for about an hour talking about Sonic. No names. Next up, we have the February NPDs. And also we'll be talking Switch-related items on this. Before we do, they also came out with a statement. Nintendo Switch remains on a record-setting sales pace. Over the first 12 months in the market, Nintendo Switch has achieved the highest installed base for a console platform in history.
So that's more than Wii or PS4 in its time frame.
It's crazy.
Correct, yes. Yeah, that's more than everything, which is crazy impressive. Like, we knew it was doing well, and then we found out it was actually doing very well. But it's doing the best.
Yeah, which is kind of
the best there ever was.
I'm not terribly surprised. We got Mario and Zelda in the first year. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a great year to put on there, especially with people who doubted it so long. I mean, I know, again, like we said, don't want to set the Wii U as a barometer of success, but still, this is quite the comeback from a Wii U right now of those dark times. But and especially if it's doing this well without Pokemon Smash, and whether it's a Metroid game, I know it doesn't really sell consoles, but a Metroid game or even Animal Crossing or any other type like that. That just shows bigger things are meant to come ahead right now. Like who knows?
We can hope. We won't know for sure until E3. But I mean,
we know Smash is coming.
Yeah, we do.
We got Fire Emblem World is scheduled this year.
Let's hold off on Smash until it officially gets released. I'm in that reserved zone like we were in Xenoblade 2. Whereas, it's 2017. It's like, let's wait and see. Smash again. I know it was.
Like I said,
for example, prove your point.
Regardless, we will wait. We will hold off on judgment.
I'm fine with you waiting on there, but I'm just saying this entire time, do you really think they're going to have Fire Emblem to sell their entire fall season? I mean, I know it's had a bit of resurgence, but still, especially in mobile,
Nah, that's going to be wasn't playing anymore. I mean, it would be enough for me personally, but
yeah, that would be great.
Loads more. Yeah, don't worry.
But as far as the sales right now, it just is there. Like I always got to say, is there going to be a point where this slows down, this year right now, or is it just going to that concept of the concept that everybody's able to get, and the games that are readily available right now is it just going to be, there's some point where it's like, it just takes a huge dip where people are just not playing it some more. But again, I doubt that happens. I don't know. That's the fear in my back of my head. But I don't know. This was the best selling games of like last month right now. I mean, and by the way, just non-Nintendo related, this is the second month Monster Hunter World sold #1 in the country. So good for that series. Good. So, Mario Kart 8 and
should we crunch some of these numbers?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. And so I'm going to go through the Switch and the 3DS stuff, but there's some other things which are worth going over. Like one of them is the list for the best-selling games for the last 12 months.
For the Switch?
No, overall, all games. All
Okay. Yeah, I see it right here.
Yeah, I only go over the Nintendo stuff. So the top Nintendo one on this list is at number 5, which is Breath of the Wild. So that was the 5th best-selling game of all games for the last 12 months. And then we have, then dropping down in 9, Super Mario Odyssey, and in 10, Mario Kart 8. I assume that's deluxe.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8.
Right.
Notice that
it's both. Maybe that's how it got there.
Yeah, but notice the asterisk on a lot of these things that like MPD does not cover digital sales either. And one thing I wanted to point out from like February sales was Bayonetta 2 was like number 14, and that didn't have digital sales. I mean, I'm not saying that's like, oh wow, just it's resurgent so much, but still to see it kind of pop up there still, shows I'm like, okay, at least there's some interest in this. But
honestly, but even without that, like, it's a very good point to make. Yes, there are additional sales here which aren't accounted for, so maybe they could be even higher. But the 4 things beating Zelda are Call of Duty, NBA, Destiny 2, and Madden. So it's done pretty well. Those things are like well-known quantities in terms of they all just sell, regardless of quality and what. Not to put it aside, but those things just sell. You can kind of predict what sort of numbers it is. And so yeah, I don't think we've ever seen like a Zelda game at that sort of level in terms of sales competing. But yeah, in terms of let's jump into 3DS and then we'll do Switch. So top 10 for 3DS. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon in 1 and 2 respectively. Oddly, these would be for February, I'm assuming, due to what number 3 is, because number 3 is Radiant Historia, Perfect Chronology.
Yeah, that was a little strange for there, but good.
4 Mario Kart 7, 5 Minecraft, 6 Super Smash Bros.
Okay.
7 Mario Party, the top 100. 8 Super Mario Maker. Number 9 Kirby Battle Royale, selling purely by the name. And 10 Super Mario 3D Land. So, yeah, these are February. And so let's, now we've done that, go over the Switch results. Number 1 Mario Kart 8. Number 2 Super Mario Odyssey. Number 3 The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Number 4 Bayonetta 2. Number 5 Splatoon 2. Number 6 Pokken Tournament Deluxe. Number 7 Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Number 8 Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Number 9 the one and only ARMS. 10 Dragon Quest Builders.
That came in 10? No. That's disappointing.
Well, name only.
Not everyone can be ARMS. It's nothing.
No, I'm happy for ARMS. I am. I mean, even though it didn't even if it didn't sell the same level as like Splatoon 2 or Splatoon 1 or 2, but I don't know. I guess just knowing that we see this, I feel like we're going to be talking about this each month. It's like, oh, it's just continuing to succeed, whatever, with the Switch right now. But it's like, I go back to like, when will it slow down? But I'm hoping it doesn't. But it's just quite the turnaround, though. It is.
Definitely, yeah. Going from the Wii U to the best-selling system ever in its first 12 months. That is quite an improvement. Let's jump on now to the Nindies showcase. I assume we all watched it.
Yes.
Yes, I did. They had quite a bit of time to hype this one up, I know, from like about almost 5 or so days or something like that.
That's right, and they kept it quite concise. It was it about 12 or so minute running time?
It's like 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
Wasn't expecting to go head over heels with this one. But if I had to say what my overall thought about it, I was like, out of the 3 indie showcases that we had in the Switch era, I do feel like it was the weakest because a lot of the games that we see listed on here, we don't have a lot of concrete release dates. It's just mostly either summer or fall.
Yeah.
And I get that they're coming, whatever. I just kind of, and plus, I will say though, it was a little disappointing to see that we did not hear any info on Wargroove or Bloodstain, which the latter, which Bloodstain though I did hear from their developer, they said that they are going to have, reading from one of their blog posts, they're going to have a release date announced very soon before the end of March. So that I was a little shocked that they didn't.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, I was very confused with Bloodstain because I haven't heard anything for a while from them. But yeah, if it's by the end of March, that's great. That's absolutely great. I would rate this Nindie event slightly higher than the most recent Direct though, because most of them are ports. So that's why I get that in there. But yeah,
that's
reason
for a reason though, Colin.
Mm-hmm.
These are all. Nah, let's move on. So we had some cool indie games announced here. At least discussed. And so I don't want to just go through them all as a little list. So any in particular that you saw on the show that caught your attention is something that you want to find out a little bit more about?
2 actually. The Messenger and Bomb Chicken.
So what about Messenger?
The thing that caught me a lot of a Messenger when I saw that, I was like, again, I got that vibe of like, oh, this looks like Ninja Gaiden. And then it kind of throws the whole switch on you where you can actually go from 8-bit to 16-bit styles within like, I think that's where it's you go through different like modes or whatever. I don't know. I was fairly intrigued by that. But also Bomb Chicken, aside from that, it's just this chicken that instead of eggs, it just lays a plethora of bombs the size of its body that you use to either, use or move and platform around. One thing I liked though was the look. It didn't try to recreate like it was an 8-bit game. What you kind of see here, it almost tries to recreate itself. It's like a GBA or a DS game. That's the look I kind of like, the charm for me to it. And I don't know. Those are 2 I feel like I'm really looking forward to.
Okay, how about yourself, Colin? Can you pick 2 games which caught your attention?
Let's see. I mean, I would say the Messenger does look really good. Looks quite challenging, which I quite liked. Apart from that, the Banner Saga 3 looked pretty good. As far as
I never did play any of those.
No, me neither actually. But just looking at it, I was like, I kind of want to go back.
Well, they did announce as part of this that Banner Saga 1 and 2 are also coming.
That's right. So it might be a good way to pick up the trilogy. But yeah, no. Overall, I nothing really stood out to me as like must-gets. They all looked interesting. I'll say that.
Okay. I'm visually kind of interesting looking games.
I did get the sense that people were asking like, why weren't these all in the Direct or something like that? And to me, I kind of had to step in and say, well, would you rather have this where it's kind of explained a little bit more in a short 10, 12-minute span? Or would you have like a 2-minute sizzle reel? You're like, where you're saying like, what's that? What's that? You don't really get the sense of like what these things are in quite a bit of a quick sizzle reel somewhat. And plus it gives highlights to those, indie developers that really need that spotlight a little bit more. And, it's, I don't know. It was a decent showcase, but I said it's the weakest out of the 3 we've seen so far.
Okay, one of the games that caught my attention there's a couple really. Actually, one I want to jump into first is Pool Panic.
Okay. Oh, the one from Adult Swim Games.
Yeah. So on paper, you describe this to me, it sounds quite boring, but watching it,
sold.
Well, essentially, yeah, because the concept is not going to sound very interesting. I'm going to prove my own point here, deliberately make it sound bad. So it's a pool game, like taking place on different environments, and you got to try and get the ball in the hole, or different balls in different holes. And that's essentially, and you do have a queue, and you're potting the balls, and that seems to be it essentially. However, because it's these are pool tables, they are environments that it does look fun. It does look challenging. It does look like a puzzle game. It's bizarre that you just kind of have this simple wrapper on top, and it can change like kind of almost the whole idea of what a game can be. And so yeah, I do like when they take a simple concept, and a lot of indie games do this very well, and do something different with it. Something generally someone hasn't done that thing with it yet, treading new ground. And yeah, that was one of those games which looked really cool. And another one for me was Just Shapes and Beats.
I was gonna list that in my top 2 on there, but so this is like a it's a shoot. No, it's a explain it. Whatever. I feel like it's.
I should do my best. It's a tricky one to explain. Kind of the opposite problem of the first game. But this kind of looks like it's a rhythm game, also a shooter game. Like it's a bullet hell shooter around a rhythm game. At least that's kind of how they described it. Kind of how it looks. It's one you really do have to see though to appreciate what it is and what it's doing. But I kind of got a little bit of, in a weird way, a bit of Thumper vibes from it, and other, I guess, some more traditional type rhythm games. But as well as you do get shooter vibes from it, which, as I've just explained, that's what the concept is. But the two things do seem to mash in a kind of cool way, and so that is one I'm interested in. It's one I'm going to check out.
That one, I think that'll probably be definitely on my radar going up right now. Others, I mean, going through like Mark of the Ninja Remastered was one up there. I was a little surprised to see Luminous Remastered on there too. That was very popular PSP, PS Vita game. And West of Loathing, which is basically a stick figure Western of sorts, with a Western RPG. Western, not as in Western style RPG, but a RPG set in the West.
In the West. Yeah, I got what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to solve audio issues here.
Yeah. Hopefully...
I'm not sure if I'm sounding any better on this.
Currently, it sounds like you're underwater.
I'm still underwater. Give me a moment, guys. Find a couple of extra interesting games, and I'll be back with you in a moment.
While Lewis is gone for a little bit. What did you? Pody, I think was the name on there. It's a co-op. It's a co-op title of the game that has what's the say on here? It's kind of takes place. It's like almost Norwegian style, like type of like mythology type of game where you have these rock and this other sphere that you're together going through these different areas, and kind of you need to help like go through traverse through areas. You need one over the other. So that was one I really kind of Bad North has a bit of a Fire Emblem vibe to it, where obviously, but your enemies are if you're
Fire Emblem 5, yeah, definitely. But yeah, it looked good. I mean, again, it looked interesting. It's not a must buy for me, but if it's one of those things that if it's in a sale, I would very much consider it. You know.
Now there was that, and aside from I Fantasy Strike, I didn't get much out of though. But I know some people will. Yeah,
I'll be honest. A lot of these like just kind of like flew over me because I was watching it, but I didn't really. There wasn't too much that grabbed my attention. It looks very. As for most indie games, they all kind of blend together for me, unless it has like a really strong, unique idea, which, that's the way it is, really. But yeah.
No, it was I don't know, a lot to catch around there, even though I felt like there should have been. I was expecting more, but what I saw in there, it gets me a little excited.
Definitely.
Hello.
Oh, he's back now.
Am I back? Am I still underwater?
No, he's not. No, you are no longer treading water. You're actually above. You're probably on a boat speaking right now. That's what I say.
That's good. I can have another drink then. I was worried before.
But is there anything fun?
In all the manners of audio, did anyone mention Luminous Remastered?
I did briefly mention it.
Okay, good.
It's but it's a port. So, yeah.
Okay,
part of a great game that we never got on a Nintendo platform. So there's plenty that never experienced it.
Sure, I believe, is this the first time it's been on a non-Sony platform?
I want to say
my gut tells me that's the case. I don't have facts to back it up, though.
I don't have facts. I have the Wikipedias to back me up. No, it was the original was on iOS.
There we go.
Xbox 360 and Microsoft Windows and mobile. So
My gut was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm probably just hungry. Then that's probably what that means.
No, when I mentioned iOS original, I meant the original version was on iOS. The first game got released in PSP back in 2004.
Okay. Oh right, yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Cool. But yeah, there's cool games. I do like the having this like focused event around in development, independent developed games.
Did any of you though see like when they had their after the Nindies showcase after the press went to go and like after the event showed off? Did you see what their top 10 Nindies were from global sales though? I have a list. No, well, this was the top 10 that they had listed on there, and this is not any order. So we have SteamWorld Dig 2, Stardew Valley, Kamiko, Celeste, Fast RMX, Golf Story, Enter the Gungeon, Overcooked Special Edition, NBA Playgrounds, and Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Yeah, those were the top 10 Nindies.
Okay.
Yeah, got a few of those.
So it's like a promo.
Not all of
them. Several times.
An exclusion or two. But lots of indie goodness on my Switch. Probably not a better time to mention it, but look, I've done it again. I've got new colours.
Oh wow, nice.
Splatoon colours.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Because one's green, as you can see, and one's pink. But it looks red. It's definitely very bright.
It's a very neon pink.
It is. Mine are grey, and I'm happy with that.
I am kind of with mine, but I want different colors than mine. I want to spice it up. So
the controllers. They just control games.
They're controllers, but I'm a very good thing with aesthetics.
Show the buttons. They're the same color too.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Details.
And green for green, isn't it a wonderful world we live in? Now that I've changed Colin's perspective, and he'll be buying all sorts of different coloured Joy-Cons in the near future.
I'm running right now. You have no idea.
The Toys R Us before it closes to pick up the Joy-Cons. I know the story. It's okay. Let's jump into a super topic. And there's a running theme with super topics of recent. And a quick overview of what a super topic is, if you don't know. It does go back to our Patreon. If you are a member of our Patreon, you can submit super topics, and they can range from anything from a simple question to a more of a full-featured actual segment of a show. And we've even done specific things, as in we ran a Waluigi-themed quiz show once before, which fell under the super topic rules. So feel free to get creative. And check over patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. Get crazy and submit some suggestions. However, we have a cool one here today from Daniel Gaskin, who sent us lots of super topic questions, which we are very thankful for. And today we're talking about expensive nostalgia. And the question is, with the retro gaming scene at an all-time high, are there any games that you've gone back to purchase and paid a little too much for? Alternatively, are there any old games that you would never pay the going rate for, or any way too overpriced for what the game actually is? He gives his own example. Beethoven, Cool World, The Fireman, and Days Before Christmas on Super Nintendo being bad games that are stupidly expensive. And also great games like Turtles in Times for Super Nintendo and Conker's Bad Fur Day on the Nintendo 64.
So he's asking games that like as far as games if we were kind of collect that we paid a little too much for. I will admit off the top right now, I'm not much into the collecting scene. I mean, yes, I do still have games from my different eras that I still have lined up right now, but I don't actively seek out to find ones. I mean, there have been times where I've been trying to rebuild a collection at times. But I just haven't actively done that as much. I mean, I'm not out there trying to find a copy of Earthbound at this point. So, but those things go for a going rate of at least over $100.
Yeah, I'm not big into retro stuff. I did want to buy a GameCube a little while ago and kind of build up a GameCube collection. But when I saw the prices that GameCubes go for these days, I mean, in the UK at least, I was like, well, no, I'll buy a Wii. I ended up buying
which is a good option.
Well,
Yeah.
if I first Wii, I late 2017. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, retro games. I mean, GameCube stuff's pretty expensive right now for some reason. I guess because of age. But Soccer 2 ran me about £20, which is like $25 ish, maybe. Yeah, that's probably the most expensive.
That seems fairly achievable, though. Like you hear stories in terms of like how expensive games get, and like I guess one of them kind of relates to me. Not one I purchased myself, but there was a time in my life where I would check eBay several times a week.
Yes.
For Conquest Bad Fur Day for the N64.
Oh,
and various other N64 games.
Okay.
Not for Shantae or anything like that from cartridge.
No.
That's pretty expensive.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a period where I had like an itch to play some classic N64 games, and certain of my favorites have turned really expensive, like Conquest Bad Fur Day.
Is that in box though? Because cardboard boxes,
It's true. I mean, that's a part of it, but even if you just want the cartridge, it's still like more than it originally cost in a box.
Well, I mean, I think this kind of goes back to when I was mentioned about like Earthbound, where when that came out, it came with the strategy guide. So that was a nice little box version out there. And my friend who owns a copy of it, he said he wished he still had the strategy guide because that's what's keeping him from selling his cart of Earthbound.
Oh, cool. So
I don't know, just because he's just keeping it for sentimental reasons, which I totally understand.
But there's also a thing where like the kind of official virtual services, as it were, like, you got the virtual console. And when I was talking about Conquest Bad Fur Day, Microsoft and Rare released Rare Replay, which is a great way to play those particular games, including Conquest Bad Fur Day, which was, cost 30 quid for 30 gig of games. But yeah, in terms of like the virtual console, there was a lot of like traditionally like physically rare and expensive games on that service, which you could just pay the standard going virtual console rate to play them if that's the part you're most want to get out and experience. You don't care so much for the physical item itself. They are good options. I think the only other thing I can think of where I've spent not like silly amounts, but more than you would expect for secondhand old games, at least, is my Engage collection.
Okay. I mean, how much did that go for you?
Well, I mean, I didn't buy the collection all in one go. I mean, Colin is I'm assuming bowing at this point.
Oh yeah. I'm worshipping your Engage collection right now.
Yeah, there's certain games there, and I'm not like aiming to get like a complete collection or anything. There's generally some which I'm just intrigued by, and some which I know are good, and had limited runs, as it were. There's some good turn-based strategy games on that system. I have but yeah, some of those games where we're going, it's especially when it's a game where you had it originally, and then you sold it for something cheap at the time, and now it's suddenly a very niche item which you have to pay a few times more than you would have originally, for secondhand at least. But yeah, apart from now, I've not really bought much secondhand stuff which wasn't of a good value.
Yeah, I've never really looked into it. I mean, I do sometimes get the urge to want to buy like an original Game Boy. Just because I used to own an original Game Boy. It's my first handheld, so I'm like, I can't go back to it.
They're not too expensive, are they? Original Game Boys?
I've not actually looked into it recently. When I did, I think it was like a year or two ago, and they were pretty pricey.
What about Game Boy Micros?
Yeah, I don't know actually, because they were released at a weird time, really weird time. They're like the third pillar, so to speak.
That does remind me though of a more Nintendo related item here. When I was still rocking the GBA Micro, and so the end life of the GBA, I remember getting Final Fantasy 5 and 6.
Oh, wonderful.
Cartridge and boxed. I don't think they actually came out in the UK. Could be wrong there. But I'm pretty sure I got the American versions of them either way. And it was of the time, I guess it was just after they came out, which meant they were already sold out. And I think they were both more than retail, not massively. But I remember at the time it being like a bit of is it worth doing it? And the answer was yes, because I hadn't properly played through those games till that point.
So I just looked into Game Boy Micro stuff. To get one in good condition, you're looking at about £110.
That's quite expensive then.
Which is pretty expensive.
Not crazy, but fairly so. I mean, what would that launch at? Probably about that sort of price, to be fair.
Roughly, yeah.
Most of the time, yeah.
Must have done, yeah. But you can buy them without a charger, which is helpful, for like £50. So that's all right. I mean, that means they're valuing the charger as like the same price as the system. That's dumb. Yeah.
Cheapers are cheap. Cheapers? Chargers. Cheapers are cheaper.
I don't know. I've never been in one to collect like overly. If I see a good deal, I'll pick it up. But I'm not going to throw down tons of money for a retro system, unless it's a game I have a real connection with. Like maybe like the original Metroid Prime, I might put down a chunk of change for. But besides that,
if you needed to, sort of thing.
Yeah,
if we lived in such a world where they were such a rare item.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so. To me, I thought the Virtual Console kind of clears all this up for me.
Hopefully.
Well, there's a thing with like when it comes to collecting games, as far as like when it comes to a market, it just depends on like how much is out there. I mean, remember when Devil's Third was like rare to find here in the States for a while, and Nintendo essentially set that to die, and copies of that were selling for like $80, $90 on like Amazon, eBay. And I think it was like something like a new shipment came in or something like that from other stores, and then like the market kind of plummets that. There's a great Retronauts episode where they talk about like collecting retro games, and I can't really sum up too much of it. Whatever they talked about like before the end of this year, or whatever. But just secretly seek it out if you can. It's a great episode of Retronauts, and they just kind of talk about how there's just certain bubbles of games where it just blows up, whatever. And that was the case with like a lot of the old Atari 2600 games. Like that whole market just blew up really, aside from the 83 crash, people collecting them, it just blew up because I think people were finding more ways to collect them. And it just more and more people were getting a hold of them. I know that's not the best way for me to kind of put things out in this perspective, but it all just depends on like, I don't know. It just depends on how much are out there. And it's for me though, I did think about trying to get into it, but I just don't have the time. I just don't really. When you're paying for games right now to actually review and play itself, it's just hard for me to balance it.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, if I was going to put out money for that kind of stuff, it just has to be special. It has to have some meaning. I just feel like with the way things are. I mean, even the Super Nintendo. Right now, I would rather get a SNES Mini than go out and buy a Super Nintendo. Because all the games that I really have a connection with are on the SNES Mini. So that's fine for me. Things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's both things like Virtual Console and even like the new classics or the mini series. Mm-hmm. Both avenues help in this regards. Having this chat, though, it did make me think of kind of the opposite, which is having bought collector's editions. And then selling them later on. Not deliberate, as in not like
I was going to say scalping.
Forewarned, as in there's been periods of my life, where selling things on eBay to get money has been, a good idea. And having a look around and seeing like these big collected boxes of games, going, you got like bullseyes on top of them. You probably good targets here, make some quick money. But oddly turning out like selling them for more than the cost of what it was originally. So actually turning a profit on the things. And so that's the complete other end of the scale.
Very much so.
Like unintentionally making money out of the hobby. Like as in selling them as secondhand goods, good, games that you have played and enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then oddly getting some money at the end of it, which is an odd experience. But I remember doing such on I had Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Wii U. They had like a limited print edition of it.
That's one I had there too, and I feel like that will be worth a nice little collector's item.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I do kind of miss it, but in a weird way. Like, I was really glad when they announced it for Switch. I was like, oh yeah, it'd be good to jump back into that.
Yeah.
And I think what was it? I can't remember what the other one was, but that's a fair example. Anything similar to you guys, or any other related to this?
I think two I could probably think of is the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition that I got from my GameCube, which I think had Majora's Mask, the first Legend of Zelda and Legend of Zelda 2, and Ocarina of Time. And then, of course, there was the Ocarina of Time Master Quest disc. I mean, obviously, that's the less value because those are now available on Ocarina of Time 3D.
Yep.
But those are ones I generally kind of hold close to my heart. Yeah, those are really those are the only ones I really have. I mean, I know that's just really disappointing to say, but I have nothing really of value, but it just, those are the ones I have.
For me, I avoid collector's editions. I don't like the plague. I can't stand collector's editions or anything, because I'm not a fan of like just physical items as such. The only collector's edition I have, and this is bizarre, is Twilight Princess HD. You can see the box behind my shoulder here. Now, the reason I have the collector's edition of Lewis is showing us a Lego figure right now.
It came with a collector's edition. That was the.
But the reason I got the collector's edition was because it was cheaper than the standard. It's one of those weird situations where the delivery cost of the standard game cost a fair bit, whereas the delivery cost of the collector's edition was free. So it worked out cheaper to get the collector's edition. So that's a nice little thing. But again, that's why I have the Wolf Link amiibo, which I've got lying around here. Just over here.
How many amiibos do you have again?
3.
3. Are they all Zelda themed?
They are all Zelda themed. I don't know why I have 3. I just do.
Because you have a problem. You have a problem, and guess what? It's going to develop into addiction.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Come back next week. You'll see I'm like covered in amiibo.
That giant amiibo, not that wooden one. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't want that.
Embrace it with open arms.
No.
Well, come on.
Smash for Switch new line of amiibo. There we go.
Oh,
extra 50 amiibo right there.
Oh wow, I keep forgetting about. Oh wow. No. That actually might lead me over to say, like, do they actually port it and use those old ones, or do they say, you know what, we're gonna print another line of these?
I reckon they'll be compatible, but I reckon they'll have complete new amiibos for all of them.
Why?
Because there's money to be had.
Of course there is, yeah. And it could be like they're not even so much going after. And I think this is somewhat related to the topic. They're not They're not expecting people to collect them all. They'll probably know some people will attempt to, but there'll be, I imagine, maybe even people like Colin go, "Oh, that new Link amiibo, he looks pretty cool." As in, like, he's got a generally cool design. He's got more detailed than usual. Maybe I'll pick him.
See, I've looked at loads of amiibos. I'm like, that's a cool design. I'm not going to buy it. No,
fair enough. Anybody?
Not even a cloud one?
No.
Wow. Jeez.
No.
Right, so I've got to see if there's any.
You got plenty of shelf space up there, man. Come on.
I do, but heck, it's not going to be filled anytime soon.
Actually, I think this does fit quite nicely into this subject because, like, I have been put off of buying amiibos because obviously it's quite common that, you know, an amiibo comes out to the market, it's quickly sold out, and then it's just resellers selling them on for inflated prices.
Yeah.
Although that case it's not as extreme as it was to begin the last early days of amiibo. I mean, I think the only ones I could there's some that are very hard to come by unless you're picking up like the Guardian amiibo. The one I kind of want just because it's big and I really like how it just, I don't know, it's a nice little shell piece.
It is. But yeah, I mean, because there's so many now, if you do want to find a particular one, so I was thinking, oh yeah, it'd be cool to add Bayonetta to the collection, or, you know, even Cloud or something. And then it is hard to find just that retail price one. I was like, oh, where's the bar? How far do I go? Am I happy with paying like up to an extra £5? And is that the limit? Or is like, no, if it's, and then how much time do you bother putting aside to save yourself the few pounds, as it were, or dollars or whatever? quite a conundrum, really, isn't it? Well, I think that's going to do it, though, for the super topic. I think we've done that quite thoroughly. So thank you once again, Daniel Gaskin. And please do send in your super topics because we are running out now. I can say we got at least an extra one. No, we don't. That's a double. That could be our last one. Please
no, we're done. Please send them in. I mean,
send them in.
Daniel, we like your responses, but everybody else is a patron. Please send us something in.
Yeah.
Or new patrons, please, if you want to. I mean...
How many extra super topics will it take to be submitted between this show and the next show so we do the taste test then?
Oh no, is that what it is?
3 enough?
Is that the cutoff point?
5?
Yeah. I say 3.
3? 3's realistic. Okay. If we get 3 super topic submissions from 3 different people, we're doing the taste test, baby. All 3 of us. It'll be a Zelda cart for me, but you can take your pick. You can think about it over the week.
I have 3 games to choose from. Which do I value the least? Honestly,
LA Noire.
I might just buy a spare copy for this.
Well, can you actually swallow or?
No, you just gotta place it on your tongue and then everything spit it out.
That's how it works. And so. Another little cheeky reminder, then, if you would like to support us in the noble goal of seeing us taste Switch cartridges live, and if you weren't aware, apparently they are coated in a substance to stop children from eating them. Apparently, it's very unpleasant, which is fun. That's something to look forward to. Patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. That's what you need, and that goes smoothly on to the little thing we do at the end of each show, where we will give out our contact details. If you want to check us out and anything else we've been up to outside of Nintendo Voice. And Harrison, would you like to go first?
Sure. You can reach me at Twitter at @HMilfeld. If you want to reach me on Switch, my friend code is on my Twitter profile pinned to the top.
Okay, and Colin?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at HighlyandBard. And as Harrison said, my friend code is also pinned to the top of my profile. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. You can come berate me for calling Mario Odyssey a good game. Which I still don't understand.
Well, you welcomed it then, so that's fine.
I've got no problem with calling Mario Odyssey a good game. It's great. It's just fine. It's fine.
Oh, no, sure, but you welcomed kind of different opinions on that. Or...
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Absolutely.
Send them Colin's way. For myself, very quickly, on the live chat, we've got Green Moblin here. And that's for the context. Okay, no, there is no context. It's just this last line, the line that caught my eye. Let's dip them in some chili sauce. We're not doing that for free.
No, we're not doing that
for free submissions.
I'll do it for free. I'll sacrifice Mario Odyssey.
No! God. Monster?
You're the monster. But if there's 10, I will do that. But for me, you can find me on Twitter at Luvsion, Leuvsion. And if you're also interested in photos, you can also find me on Instagram with the same name. And that's it. That's all for myself. That's all from us. That's all from the show. So I hope you have enjoyed. And this has been Nintendo Voice.
Take care, everybody. We'll be taste testing soon, I guess.
Oh, yay. See you later, everybody.
Looking forward to it. Cheers again.